I'm here not to tell you the story of the Battle of the Margaretta, because I'm sure you've heard that from, at least from this documentary, if not from other sources, or you probably read about it. No, I'm going to talk about a character or a person in that story that I feel has been given far little credit for what he might have done that day. And this is Captain Samuel Tobey. He is an old sailor. I believe he was about 68 years old at the time of the Battle of the Margaretta. And he's from Sandwich, Massachusetts, and I believe was a sailor all his life. Anyway, we all know the story of how the Patriots got very upset at Captain Moores and chased him out onto his ship, and then even with their canoes and their boats, and firing at him from shore, chased him down shore. And then as night set in, Captain Moores was still pretty nervous that they might still come after him. So he tried to make his way down river as best he could. I'm guessing because of the conditions that night and because of the way they indicate the tide could have been, he would have been going against the tide and he probably wouldn't have had any wind. So the third alternative was to row, put their tender out and tow their boat down. Luckily, he didn't have to go far, probably within a quarter of a mile from where all of this happened, or even maybe a half a mile. He come across this other, I believe it was a sloop that was anchored. And when the sun started to rise the next morning, he realized that the wind was starting to blow downriver, a westerly wind, which is the prevailing wind in this area, and that the tide had shifted. The tide was flowing out. Perfect ideals for a boat of this size to head downriver. And in doing so, he immediately broke away from the Captain Tobey's boat and headed downriver. The only one thing was he needed a river pilot. And he probably needed somebody even more than that, because Captain James Moores is often referred to in a lot of the things that you read as a dull sailor. And being as young as he was very inexperienced. And the only way he'd gotten up the Machias River was with Captain Ichabod Jones when they come in about a week before. And he had no idea how to get out. Because this river has a lot of mud flats, it has rocks, it has a number of things that I'm going to point out here in a minute. So what did he do? He sequestered or ordered Captain Samuel Tobey to jump on board with him and to get him out of there, to sail him out. Okay, I can imagine what kind of discussion went between the two, this young brash officer and this old salt that had probably sailed these seas for many years and being ordered around. But let's put it this way, Captain Moores did have 6 Marines with him, all either with loaded muskets or swivel guns, so he probably had the commanding, he got Tobey to get on his boat. So they head down. Now, I'm right behind me, I think is where this incident happened, because we know several things. First off, that Captain Moores was making a run for it. He had ideal conditions, and he probably, but didn't know for sure, thought that maybe they would, there was other ships in the area that the Patriots would probably be trying to go after him. So he was anxious to get out of there as quick as he could. Now, what he had to do from Machias to this point behind me, which we refer to it as the rim, is about 3 miles in length. And the river runs pretty much east. In fact, almost perfectly east, right straight. A couple little waves in it, but nothing serious. And at this point right here, you can see behind me where the river changes directions. It's going directly south. So we have basically right behind me a 90-degree corner in the river. Right? The wind was coming right down the river, right out of that direction, which is west. And so they would have been able to just kind of jump on and go for a ride. Now, a sailboat, a fore-aft rig like what what the Margaretta was, and what Captain Tobey's boat was the basic working boats along the New England coast. It allowed these people to maneuver in and around the islands and up rivers and do things like that. A fore-aft rig boat refers to the sailing rigging, could actually sail into the wind up to 60 degrees and tack back and forth and actually go into the wind. So it was extremely maneuverable. And so was the Margaretta. That's what basically it was. And so they start heading down here, and we're not sure that Captain Tobey was actually on the helm or he was just directing where the boat should go. We don't know if Captain Tobey was controlling the sails and directing when they should go in and out, but all chances are he was, because that's all part of tight maneuvering. We do know one thing, that from the time he left Captain Tobey's boat, James Moores left Captain Tobey's boat and ended down at the mouth of the bay down here where there was another schooner packed down here that he had to pull up the side because he had to get a boom. Somewhere between Machias and the area down here, he broke his boom, his main boom, which is a major piece of rigging in a sailboat. Okay. Now that only happens, or usually only happens, when you're sailing, is because the person on the helm allows a boat to do what we call an unintentional jibe. That is, the sail is way out to one side, and then the wind gets behind that sail, or gets on the other side of that sail, and pushes it across, and it can travel all the way across the deck and get at very high and powerful speeds and actually slam against the sheet on the other side. The sheet is the rope that controls the boom. And that can either break that rigging free, yank it right out of the deck, or it could actually snap the boom right in half. On a schooner and on some of these sloofs, bigger boats that were made to carry lumber and all kinds of cargo, this is probably what would happen. So what I'm saying is, right behind me, whether Captain Tobey was directing the helm or whether he was actually on the helm, he probably was on, and for you sailors, you'll know what I mean, he was probably on a port tack, which meant his boom was out pointing to that shore. And so when he come up and right behind me, and when he turns the corner and heads south, makes a 90 degree, and as he comes around, the wind coming out of the west is going to catch that sail and it's going to slam it across. And what I'm saying is, at least in my opinion, right out here is where Captain Tobey laid the groundwork for them to capture the Margaretta. Because when that slammed around, it snapped that boom. And so now he is limping his way. He had to be sailing only on his foresails to get down and get into the top of Machias Bay, in which, way over in Holmes Bay, which is again more downwind, he saw another ship, and he went over to take their boom. During the time it took him to get over there, he would have been slowed down going down here tremendously. He would have been slowed down getting there, and then he would have had to switch booms from this other boat. He probably bought those Patriots a good 4 to 5 hours for them to get from Machias with the Unity, and from East Machias up this side of the river with the Falmouth Packet, and to catch him before he got to Round Island. Right? And that is why I say that Captain Tobey. Oh, there's one other little footnote. James Moores did not release him when he left the, when he got to that other boat. In fact, he commandeered another captain, Captain James Avery, Captain Averill, and he took them with him. And it is also said that when the Unity and the Falmouth Packet caught up with him and the battle began, Captain Moores ordered both of those men to pick up arms and to fire on the Patriots. Captain Averill did. We know that that did not work well for him. He was killed instantly with a couple of shots. And again, but right from the very beginning, Captain Tobey refused to pick up any arms and to fire on his fellow sailors. So this speaks a lot for him. So again, I have no hard facts to tell you on this other than the natural facts and the things that I've just pointed out today. If you know anything more about Samuel Tobey, or if you come across anything, the Machias militia would definitely love to hear all we can about him, because a lot of us feel he is one of the unsung heroes of this whole event. Thank you.